Hello YouTube and welcome back to another game of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. We are going to be continuing on with game number 6 between Snute and Polt, our Terran versus Zerg game here in the WCS Grand Final Championship. Now, as per usual, if you have not seen the previous games, please guys, there's links in the description, click those so that you don't miss the previous ones, because spoilers will be here at about 1 minute into this game. Let's jump into our final here. So we are on Ruins of Seras. On the bottom right hand side here we've got ourselves Polt. He's a Terran player, he's awesome, doing some really good plays. His opponent, Snute, Zerg, blue, bottom left hand side. So let's see how this game develops. Scores very shortly displayed, so this is your last chance to avoid spoilers. Just so you know. And our score is currently at Snute 2, Polt 3. So, if Snute wins this, we are going to be moving on to a game number 7. And then we would have 7 awesome games to upload for this. Excuse me. And he'll have one more chance at winning the final here. If Polt wins, then he will be crowned the WCS Championship for this tournament. Now, I do not remember the reward. I think it was 150,000 prize pool. Yeah, it was, but I cannot quite remember how much the first person gets, though. I think it was like 40,000, something like that. So let's see, looks like we've got ourselves hatchery first for Snute, followed by the spawning pool. Hatchery is about to complete. Looks like Polt is going to spot him out pretty much immediately. And looks like Snute is pretty confident, after not seeing a base here, that his... Well, sorry, actually my mistake, that's reversed. I forgot. My mistake. I'm an idiot. I kind of thought that was the natural expansion for whatever reason, but no, it's not. It's all pretty standard. Looks like he's getting very unlucky here though, with spotting where exactly his opponent is. And now he's getting attacked by this Lone Reaper. Just to note, there is looking like a 1-1-1 build coming out here from Polt, with the expansion about to complete as well, so that's going to be a little bit weaker at the start, but it'll start building momentum once those medevacs start popping out as well. Just wondering as well, I have a quick question for some of you who may be tech geeks like myself, because I haven't really come across this issue before. My computer has some sort of minor flaw. I think it's either with the DisplayPort, the HDMI cable, or the graphics card itself. But basically what happens is when I start my computer, one of my monitors turns on, that's the one directly connected with the HDMI cable, and the one that's connected through the DisplayPort and converted to HDMI doesn't seem to be turning on by itself anymore. I have to kind of wriggle the wire around and then essentially unplug it and replug it back in to the back of the graphics card. Now, this doesn't seem to be specifically related to the wire from what I can tell, because even if, for example, when the monitor does turn on, if I wriggle it around non-stop, it will not go back off. It's as if the wire does not wake up the computer the first time, and I don't really know if somebody else has come across this issue and maybe knows what exactly the fault is. If you do, of course, leave a comment below. That would be super appreciated. Otherwise, I might have to RMA my graphics card, which would suck. But at the same time, I suppose, new lineup of NVIDIA cards is on the way, so maybe I will just get myself a new one, which would be awesome. Not that I need it for StarCraft, it's not super demanding, but hey, look, upgrades are upgrades, and being a tech nerd is pretty damn awesome. So let's see what these Zerglings are going to do here. Getting a few of those, actually losing them pretty much straight away. And just being a bit pesty here. Not getting a whole lot done. Looks like there is a bit of a gap there, so not a full block off with the supply depots, but probably would want to do that a little bit later on. Now this is a clever positioning here. That's a very difficult to get to tank. He's got a big ledge from one side, and on the other side he's got himself no creep to get to, so it would be a while before anything can get to him. So he can mess around here. Now he does not want to take too much damage with this medevac. He should probably bring it back around here and start doing a bit of damage to these drones. Might be able to pick off one or two. Let's see, the Viking is out. Now this is obviously, as per usual, just a Viking to clear out overlords, prevent Nidus networks. It's something that became very popular after, I don't really know if it was the exact time, but Bly used to do some crazy you know, Nidus network games. Was it Bly or Nurture? One of them anyways was doing some crazy Nidus games, and essentially there was so many of them, in fact, on this map as well, that it became very popular to get a Viking just to basically counter any sort of overlords that show, you know, just show you some vision of the high ground where you can place a Nidus network. And since then, you'd always see like one Viking out for the Terran player just to basically clear out those overlords. Let's see, double drop with a bunch of Marines. That's 60 Marines. We'll be able to nuke down a hatchery pretty quickly with that, especially if stim is complete, which I do believe it probably is at this point. Yeah, there it is. Let's see what he's going to do with those. Bringing them down, unloading them. There is a big army here though. Oh no, corrosive biles are going to get hit. Oh no, he loses one of those medevacs pretty much immediately. Polt, that was a huge loss there. I mean, he almost lost his second medevac as well. If he would have lost this as well, that would have been a nasty outcome for him. And Snute is looking like he wants to go for that game 7 right now. I mean, 64 to 40 army supply. Will he be able to overrun his opponent? With 2 siege tanks here, honestly, I do not know if he has quite enough just yet. But hey, any sort of good play might swing this in his direction very quickly. I mean, he did just manage to sneak or to nuke down a medevac full of Marines without losing anything. So anything is possible. Now he does not want to take too much damage from the siege tanks here, so he needs to be a little bit careful. There's a lot of Marines here as well. Now those Marines could chase down those Roaches and Ravagers quite easily with the stim. So wants to waste that stim and hope for a second stim if he does manage to, or decide to engage again. Looks like a fort expansion coming out here for Snute. Now let's have a look at the income situation. Looks like he still has quite a few minerals inside of his main base here, so that is quite good. In terms of actual income, looks like Polt is ahead on 2 bases rather than that's so funny. The way Terran can be ahead on income with 2 bases as opposed to a Zerg with 3. And the reason for that, of course, you know, it's obvious it's mules, but it's just, I find it so ridiculous that this kind of situation can happen so easily, and Terran is pretty happy doing that as well. I mean, Terrans don't really tend to use scans as much these days. They tend to use the energy from mules just for the extra economy. And just as I was saying that, of course, there was a scan put down, but you know, with 2 bases you can actually get quite a few scans out. The energy regenerates fairly quickly. So as long as you have, you know, 1 or 2 scans available, you're not too worried about wasting that energy on mules. Looks like that Viking got taken out. I actually wonder how many overlords did he kill with that. There's 3 overlords total, so that's the most it could be. Poor Viking. He's using some of those scans just to push back the creep. He of course doesn't want the Zerg to have creep going in his direction, since that would result in faster reinforcements. And there we go, these Marines doing so much work onto those queens. Gonna nuke a few of those down. This hatchery is absolutely toast. There is no saving it at this point. And the exchange going down here with the Marines moving straight into that Zerg army. Half of it actually got pulled back and half of it is remaining here. That is not good for Snute right now. That could cost him a lot. If this Marine army keeps pushing forward, he will be in a lot of trouble. He does have quite a few fungal growths available. That is 3 right here. Does he have any more? No, he only has 3. So he's not going to have enough for the second round of fungals up until these have 150 energy, so that's quite a bit away. And the army supply is favoring Snute. Now there is a fungal growth going down once. Second one is going to go down as well. Taking out a few of those Marines, but not as many as you would have probably liked. Let's see, this base is completely fully shut down at this point. 4 Marines remaining just to do a bit of damage. Is it going to be enough? Honestly, I do not know. It's probably going to get cleaned up very shortly. And there we go, level 2 and Carapace. Oh, some beautiful surround here. I really like this play here from Snute, but there's so many siege tanks here and they're really well spread out. But at the same time, this is indeed enough. A very nice surround here from our Zerg player here. Snute doing really well to take out his opponent here. I have to say, very well played here. In fact, you know what? Let's save that because why not? That was a good game. Or a good play rather. And army supply is very even right now, I have to say. A lot of it is still in production. Looks like Polt is investing in some tech weapons, or sorry, mech weapons. Of course, with so many siege tanks, definitely a worthy investment. And let's see, corrosive biles are going down, taking out some of those siege tanks. Roaches and Ravagers moving straight up to their faces. Gonna try to do a bit of damage there. And looks like, what's that? 2 siege tanks survived that. 3 siege tanks. Not a whole lot. And Polt does have his 3rd base complete now. Now, just to note, Snute is on 4 bases, but, you know, technically speaking, this base is pretty much mined out. This base is pretty much mined out as well. Doesn't have a full saturation on it either. So he's kind of mining similarly, I would say about 2 bases at this point. Once this gets fully saturated, he might have 3 bases in that if you combine everything together. Level 3 bioweapons is on the way. Oh no, Liberator Circles are in the air. And now a lot of these units are going to start taking a lot of damage. Definitely needs to stay away from those Liberator Circles, or at least take down the Liberators. He lost a lot there in that engagement. But is he going to have enough to clean this up? Honestly, I think he might just have had. As long as he would have taken out those siege tanks, he might have just been able to pull that off with the reinforcements that was coming. And here we go, moving straight in there. There's no Liberators left in the air. Marines are getting taken out here. And tanks as well, dying out here. This is really good from Snute. 66 to 75 army supply. But he has cleaned this up. This is actually looking quite good for him. Let's see a counterattack going down here. There is 1 Roche and 3 Queens. Is it going to be enough to hold off? Honestly, I don't know. Let's see. There is a medevac overhead. Gonna lift those off and back off. Not enough Marines to take that out. And Polt has brought down a command center here. Now that was an extra built command center. It wasn't a lifted off one. Looks like some good queen action here. 5 queens holding off against those Marines. Two medevacs full of Marines. Getting lifted off. I wonder what he's going to do. He's probably going to try to deny this base again. I mean, this is actually what he needs to do. The best way to play against a Zerg is to starve him of economy. A Zerg that cannot reinforce is a very weak Zerg. I mean, that is one of the reasons why Zerg likes to rush so much. Because at the start, their economy and their production capabilities are a lot better than their opponent. But once the opponent gets a bunch of barracks, I mean, look at all of those. At that point, it's very even. And you see, the thing with Zerg is a lot of your units are a lot weaker than your opponent. So, for example, Marines are one of the highest DPS units in the game because they attack so fast, and of course they've got 8 damage as well. They are one of the highest DPS units, and they do a shit ton of damage. That is just fact. And once you get yourself some heavier units from the Zerg, that's when they become useless. But up until that point, Marines are very, very effective. Oh no, that was a huge fungal growth. Oh, so many of those Marines getting taken out there. And the fungal growths from Snute have been really, really good in this tournament so far. These poor Marines trying to surround these roaches. I can imagine what it would be like in real life to just stand there shooting at roaches from both sides and kind of have to worry about those Gauss rifles, you know, kind of ricocheting spikes at your buddies who are on the other side of the roaches. But at the same time, you got these huge monstrosities, so you're probably more scared of them at the same time. I wonder what he's going to do here. Oh, looks like he's just trying to catch out a few of the reinforcing Marines here. And he is indeed going to do that. Looks like moving up to this base. This base probably going to get denied here. Very, very difficult to get to the Marines on time when there's so many of them. Look at how fast this hatchery is going down. And with the Liberator Circles, Snute has to let that go. That go. I love these longer games. It kind of reminds me of Wings of Liberty. I mean, I didn't cast games in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, but I definitely did enjoy watching a lot of the casters. For example, Husky StarCraft was by far my favorite, followed by Day 9, who were really, really entertaining guys, and I used to love watching their videos. And yeah, those games were a lot longer back then. Kind of missed that, to be honest. I mean, these days a long game just means that there's probably about 7 or 8 bases for each player. Now in this case they're not that heavy on expansion, so that's what, 3, 4, 5 bases. But at 16 minutes that is quite little for Legacy of the Void actually. And this is some good harassment from Marines. He's actually doing a lot of good splits here, and he's essentially trying to bait the Zerg units to go back here against the siege tanks. They have a very long range, as you can see right here. So anything within this kind of hitbox that gets too close will get blown up. Now, just a note, here we go. We've got ourselves Broodlords here, and this is what I was talking about with the Zerg army. Once you've got yourself those heavy units, you become very, very difficult to deal with, and Polt recognizes that. He's backing off, definitely recognizing the threat, and probably could see Vikings on the way. There we go. We've got ourselves 2 Vikings on the way. Not a whole lot, but might be enough to deal with this. And this is not a small amount of Broodlords. I mean, it's definitely not something to just dismiss. Needs to be very, very careful how he engages those, because if they are in the front, he might be able to snipe them out. But if they're in the back, then you know yourself, if you auto-attack move, which you would very likely do when fighting such big armies with such big armies, then you know you're not going to focus down single targets, because that just doesn't really work that well. Then your units might start attacking the Broodlings, and that is not going to work out well for you. Oh, this poor roach. I wonder, was that a sacrifice for vision, or was it an accident? It looks like these Marines gonna deny this base yet again. That's the fourth base that is getting, sorry, 5th base getting denied here. And Snute could have been on 6 bases at this point, but unfortunately losing a lot of those. And let's see, this is a bit of a miss rally. He definitely wants to stay away with those infestors as well. Now Broodlords needs to be very, very careful here. If he gets a little bit too close, he could lose them very, very easily. But those fungal growths gonna basically get him a few extra kills here. And Snute, I'm afraid, is actually falling a little bit behind. I mean, the fact that he's getting his bases denied is not doing him any favors. And of course, the fact that that he doesn't have that much economy means he can't reinforce that much. Which I suppose kind of links in with the first thing I said, but you get the point. Oh, this poor drone getting taken out. This hero marine here denying another base by himself. Blob. 2 Vikings taken out, so that's going to be good for the broodlords to not get taken out of midair or in mid-fight. That is a lot of siege tanks. Let's see how many siege tanks he's got himself here. That's 13 siege tanks. Probably not the total. Yeah, it is the total actually. Funny enough, all of his units are very well clumped up. And the one thing with so many siege tanks is, yeah, they will absolutely destroy the ground units, but the problem with them is that you've got yourself so much splash damage that could potentially hit your own units when you've got broodlords in the air. But I think he's playing this out perfectly. I think that if he was to take on Snute in some points in this fight, he would have lost a long time ago if he would have just taken him on straight away. But what he's doing is, instead of just taking him on directly, which is definitely not a smart idea when you're fighting a Zerg, he is basically wearing him down. And I've said this a couple of times, it's exactly what you want to do to the Zerg. You want to deny them expansions, prevent their economy from growing. And this is not going to look good right now. Snute is getting some tech buildings destroyed here. That's a hatchery, which is not mining, but of course is still production capability. Getting all of that taken out, and now Snute's army is heading on back here. Now he's losing all of his tech here as well. So this could be very, very nasty right now. Oh no, that is the hive getting taken out as well. A hatchery getting taken out. So that's 2 hatcheries and a hive. Losing the infestation pit, losing the roach warren. So at this point, Snute is not going to be able to reinforce pretty much anything. I mean, all of his tech has been destroyed. He is mining safely right now, but that is pretty much all that he's got. I mean, he doesn't have a huge army supply. He's 50 army supply behind, in fact. So unless he can destroy this army and then destroy his opponent at the same time, he would get destroyed, and that might not look very good here. He doesn't have a whole lot of energy, but good fungal growth going down here. And a few infested terrans as well. Is there enough units here? The army supply is starting to even out a little bit, but still Snute is losing his units faster. And there's a lot of reinforcement that would be on the way here for Polt as well. So he has managed to hold this off. He's forced back all of those Terran units, but at the same time, there's a lot of reinforcements coming in right now, and the army supply, the economy is actually struggling for Snute right now. And this poor base also getting denied at the same time. Let's have a look at the workers lost. 34 workers for Snute and 4 for Polt. So Polt has been doing really, really well with denying those bases. He's got himself an extra base here as well. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases for a Terran. And essentially what's left of 2 bases for Zerg. And there we go, GG has been called. Polt takes game number 4, and you know what that means, guys? That means that Polt has actually won the tournament here. And that is pretty much it. I hope you have enjoyed this game. That was pretty damn amazing. Really, really well played by both of our players here. And Polt has indeed won that. Now, before we complete this, I just want to quickly double check what the prize actually was for winning this. So just bear with me one moment. It was actually $35,000 for Polt and 3,000 WCS points. Snute won 15,000, and then the 3rd and 4th places were actually Nerchio and Hydra, so 2 more Zerg players, and they each took back $10,000 with their rewards, as well as 900 WCS points. So that's pretty much it. That brings the tournament to a finish. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you do want to see any of the in-between games that I did skip, I apologize. I had to skip them because of that big break that I unexpectedly took. And you are welcome to, of course, check VODs online. There's plenty of them there, so you could catch up if you wish. They're a bit outdated at this point, but you know, some people like to watch that kind of stuff from start to end. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be moving on to more recent content very, very shortly. Probably even tomorrow you'll see the next video for that. And that's it. I'll end the video here. Good luck, take care. Don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up for the sake of this tournament. And that's it. Take care.